The new raid, The Root of All Nightmares, comes out tomorrow. And in today's video, I'll be going over every weapon that you might consider bringing into this. Now, disclaimer, not everyone will have all of these weapons, whether you're a hardcore grinder or whether you're a filthy casual. I'm going to go over all the weapons that are essential, that are going to be valuable no matter what. The team that gets worlds first will certainly be using a majority of these weapons because I'm going through all of them. I'm trying not to make this list as exhaustive as possible because I don't want to sit here and just blabber about 100 different guns, but I want to give you a reason why I'm using all these weapons. And if you have different variants of these, then use your variants. So first up we have, and we're going to go through kinetic, energy, and power. We have the Riptide, which has auto loading and chill clip. Shoot one shot and it will slow targets, shoot two and it will actually freeze them. This is really strong. This is excellent for handling tough combatants. You can freeze wyverns and all types of different stuff. This is really, really good. Highly recommend having a Riptide, or at least consider using it if you haven't been using it. You can use any other chill clip weapon. There's chill clip grenade launchers, and there's other chill clip fusions, like the Aura Vandal can also do this. So chill clip is an excellent option. I have the Heritage crafted. This is for just as really good, strong damage output. You can use this against bosses, use this against champs, whatever it may be. Heritage is an excellent option. Of course, the Ignition Code with Slide Shot Blinding. This is always a really good option. If you don't have this, obviously you could try to suffer in Dares of Eternity to get it, or you could just use an auto-loading one, or just not use it at all. You could use something else, have someone else in your team use it that has this role. We'll be talking about the Osteo. Now, I'm going to be on a Titan for the raid. If you're on a Titan or on a Hunter, you may not want to use Osteo. It synergizes really well right now with Warlocks and their Strand builds, but Osteo is definitely a viable option, especially with that Warlock Strand build. That build is nasty. It spreads poison and severs all the targets. It's really good. Succession, this is my tried and true. I just use this for like everything. Like whenever I just log into Destiny, I'm just like, oh, there's a new encounter. All right, let's slap on the Succession. I just throw this thing on. It's just so good. Reloads itself. We got Reconstruction, Vorpal. If you have this craft, it's awesome. If you have the God Roll from back in the day, you can also use that one. I had the God Roll, deleted it because I got the crafted one. Now I got leveled up. This thing is so nice. And then there's Old Faithful, Witherhoard. Never a bad option to shoot a Witherhoard at a pile of ads. Stick the boss with it. It's always good. Very consistent. Excellent exotic choice. Definitely worth having a Witherhoard on your character, on multiple of your teammates' characters, in fact. Next, we'll talk about the Lumina. Now, this gives a damage buff greater than the majority of other damage buffs out there. So, so you want to actually use this from time to time. Have one person on your team using this at max, though, and they'll be shooting your teammates with the Blessing of the Sky stuff. This is excellent for damage output and DPS times, so highly recommend to have at least one person on your team be the Lumina person. They're not going to be the Lumina person the entire raid necessarily, but they will alternate into using Lumina for damage phases if you need a little more damage. Like, for example, let's roll back the clock so you can understand, like, if we were back in War Priest era, right, where he's got so much health, Lumina will help do as much damage output as possible so you can push past those bosses. Next up, we'll talk about primary DPS, which is a thing that you have to do sometimes when you're under-leveled. It's contests. You're using your special, your power just to clear the damn ads sometimes, your supers. Sometimes you gotta whip out a primary. You gotta swap to it and do primary DPS. Outbreak is an excellent choice, and I know what some of you are already typing down below. I know, but Revision 0 is better primary DPS. That's true, but it's better primary DPS when you have it on already and you have those sniper shots charged. So if you are swapping to it, it's not better than Outbreak. Outbreak just has a very simple proc. You just swap to it, start shooting the headshots. It makes the nanites. Outbreak is the better choice at range for primary DPS than the Revision 0. Next up, we have Final Warning, which again is another primary DPS option. But if it's closer, if you're closer to the boss, to the encounter, use Final Warning. This actually has insanely good damage output for primary. Lastly, we'll be talking about Izanagi's Burden. This is just, it's so good. Do I even need to explain why this is so good? Been out for a long time. You know, it's the best, most powerful sniper output. Swapping to an auto-loading rocket with this is excellent damage output overall. Those are all of the kinetics that I'm considering. And obviously you could mix a few others in there, but those are definitely like, at least try to have like 2 or 3 of these, right? I'm not going to have all of these on my character because then loot drops are going to go. So I will kick a few of these out as I enter in the raid. I'll probably have the weapon I have on and maybe 5 in my inventory, but I'll have it at the ready, the ability to grab some of these. And we already have people assigned to like Lumina and Osteo, so I'm obviously not even going to have these 2 on here as well. Now going on to the energy slot. The energy weapons are very bloated right now in Destiny 2. There's so many good energy weapons that I've struggled to make a concise list, but I've whittled it down to as few as I can, and we'll go through all of them. First up, we have the harsh language. This is not the god roll. This is a trash roll, but unfortunately this is my best roll. I'm not going to be bringing this in there. I just figured I should mention that the harsh language is amazing, especially with these volatile flow, because it gives it volatile rounds. It's so nice this season. If you have that roll with repulsor brace, wellspring, that's really nice. You could also use the envious assassin roll. It reloads like up to 3 in the mag, I believe. So you just clear some ads with a machine gun or your primary, and then swap to this, and there's boom, 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 fire a bunch of shots, overshields for days. This is really nice. You can also have forbearance as an option. This is an amazing ad clear option. Everyone always talks about this thing. Unrelenting, chain reaction, so good, so strong. If you haven't crafted your forbearance, it's definitely a must-have weapon. It's amazing to use in PvE. You just shoot it and everything explodes and dies. It's awesome. Nicola's SMG, I haven't finished crafting mine yet. I will have surrounded on it. I just was leveling it up. I leveled up a PvP roll that's really high leveled, but I am finishing my PvE roll right now, so I'll go back and recraft this and get the proper perk on it with surrounded. I think surrounded is the better option. I know some of you out there will say volt shot, but I think surrounded is going to be a little bit better for the challenging in-game activity. Then we have the Hallowed Denial. I purposely recrafted this. This is what I'll be primarily using. It's got repulsor brace on it. This is going to give you mad overshields. Lead from gold. Rocking double specials with lead from gold. So I get tons of power drops. Feed into my commemoration. Probably slap on a wither horde here or whatever else I need. This is a really solid loadout. Seems like a funky one with double special, but keep in mind that double special means you get way more heavy ammo drops. It's a weird bug or weird like workaround in the game. It's feels like a bug or a glitch, but it's very detrimental at times to use double special because you can run out of ammo. But when I do run out of ammo, I'll just swap to something then. Just be like, all right, not gonna sit here and stress it. Swap to something, so it's not a big deal. But this is probably my personal preferred legendary. I really enjoy using this. I will also be using this Cartesian coordinate. This thing has been sitting in the vault for a while. A lot of you haven't used this since the fusion season, but it's really good, really consistent damage output. Lead from gold Vorpal roll, Cartesian. We got the Philo from Xur. Hopefully you grabbed that one last week. Auto-loading Vorpal, always an excellent option, especially if you need a double slug. That's the way. Heritage, Philo. The Unforgiven from the dungeon with Demo Adrenaline Junkie. Very nice option, especially if you're on Warlock. With using Starfire, this is really nice. Even if you're not, it's an excellent SMG. You will want a div on your team, at least one person. You'll want to designate who is the Lumina person if we need a Lumina. Let's have that person be ready to go. Swap. You'll want to have a separate person who's the Divinity person. Maybe you can be the same person, I don't know. Have a Divinity person. There may be a target that has a very tough crit to hit. They move around quite a bit, like Rolk. You'll definitely want to have Divinity on. Even though the damage debuff is not as strong as it used to be, Divinity is definitely a very, very strong choice. I'm going to throw on a whole bunch of other weapons. This is going to be the last wave that I'll share with you. But I'm going to throw on a bunch of other energy weapons that are definitely in consideration. Good. Alright, here we go. We've got Vex Mythoclast, an excellent option. We've got Merciless if you have to damage a boss. There's every now and again Merciless comes in clutch for damaging bosses without crits. So definitely could be a viable option is spamming the Merciless. Trinity Ghoul, especially with Arc Surge, could be buffed quite a bit and actually be able to clear ads like it's intended, even though in contest potentially. So Arc Surge, triple Arc Surge in this could be really nasty and really strong. Tarnished Metal would be an option I'd swap to if I'm rocking the Trace and I run out of ammo. Right, like I'm rocking the double special and I run out of ammo. So I'm running double special like this, run out of ammo, then I'll swap to this. Or I'll swap to the SMG perhaps, or I'll drop to the Scout. Depends on the affinity of shields I'm fighting against. So Solar, Void, Deal with Chalchis with Explosive Payload, One for All, Callous Mini Tool, Unrelenting Surrounded, Staccato with Explosive Payload. And then the new Glaive, I don't really know if you'll actually end up using this, but I figured I'd throw it in there as a notable mention that it is actually excellent ad clear. The ability to get infinite overshield is actually quite nice, and there's potential. There's potential here. I wouldn't say quite must have, but there's potential. Let's move down to the power weapons. right? As far as must-have power weapons go, the Commemoration is so good. If you haven't been using this, you're missing out. You can also use the one corrective measure from Vault of Glass. It's Void as well. Volatile Flow with this is just, it's unbelievable. Reconstruction reloads this magazine up to like almost 150, I believe. So I'm just walking around with a 150 round magazine that's loading itself 8 bullets every couple seconds. This is crazy. I'm loading into every encounter with this in my power weapon slot. While we learn the mechanics, I will just clear the ads effortlessly with this. I'll clear all the ads as we can learn the mechanics, learn what relics we have to pick up, learn what symbols there are, plates, whatever it is, right? I'm loading in every encounter with this, and I recommend you do something similar to learn the encounters. Next up, we have the Eager Edge Sword. As soon as the encounter's done, we're swapping over the sword, and we're flying to the next area. Tractor Cannon's always an excellent option for debuffing and for rocking the baby hammers, bonking things. G-Horn, tried and true. One person on your team is going to need G-Horn for every encounter. I'm the G-Horn guy of my team, and we have other people using different rockets, and I'll go over the other rockets. I have those on a separate page. We'll go over those in a moment. Taipan is always an excellent option. Cataclysmic, you could pick one or the other. Probably pick Cataclysmic because it's a little bit better sustained DPS weapon. But I figured I'd throw those in there because a lot of you probably have Taipan but don't have Cataclysmic. Or maybe you have both. If I had to choose one to bring in, I would just choose Cataclysmic. Lament is always an option, a viable option. Definitely want to consider bringing that into the raid. Sleeper did not get affected by the linear fusion nerf, so it's a very, very good option. Definitely viable in the raid. The Hothead, I have auto-loading Explosive Light. If you're a Warlock, you probably want Demo Explosive Light. That thing is nasty, very, very strong. Highly recommend having that. And then Parasite is never a bad option either. Parasite, you build up a bunch of stacks from clearing the ads, and then you shoot just a really heavy power shot at something that, a one target that just needs to get absolutely blasted. So I would highly recommend to have on a Parasite as you do in the raid. Next, we'll pull up the last few that I have of notable mention. As far as rockets go, having one Two-Tailed Fox on your team is excellent. DPS to pair with the G-Horn, and then a Bump in the Night for the chill clip. So it's one G-Horn, one Two-Tailed Fox, one Bump in the Night, and then 3 Hothead if you're doing rocket DPS. That's the meta. That's the strongest damage output. So keep that in mind. Demo chill clip, Bump in the Night. That's the one, especially if you're on Warlock. Two-Tailed. I'm not on Warlock though, so that's why I'm rocking G-Horn. So I can't spam the nades nearly as much. Anarchy is really good damage output, and it's just nice ease of use. You can just stick things with it all the time. And it's really good on Solar Warlock because you can get your fusion grenades back really fast. If you're on Starfire Warlock, you either want to use Anarchy or Witherhoard pretty much the entire raid. Pretty much locked into those two. So be mindful of your Warlocks on the team. Remind them that, hey, you're Starfire Warlock, you either need to use Anarchy or Witherhoard, I would say, so that way you always can just spam fusions at everything. And then lastly, Xenophage has options like shooting oracles and stuff. You know, every now and again it's useful. So maybe have a Xeno ready to go. Those are all of the weapons. Let me know if you think I've missed out on any legendaries or exotics or must-have weapons. Hopefully I covered this very thoroughly. Understand you don't need all of these weapons, but you will want some of these weapons, and almost certainly the team that gets worlds first will be using the weapons that I've mentioned. If I'm wrong, then we'll find out. Maybe they're all using legendary sidearms. But that's a wrap on this video. Make sure to subscribe if you enjoyed. Smash the like button. See you in the next one. Later.